things that are capable of pushing your spouse away in marriage. Things that can cause your spouse to become resentful towards you in marriage. Listen and get these tips so that you try to avoid these things at all costs, so that you can have a peaceful marriage. There are things capable of, pushing your spouse out there. I'm talking both a man and woman. All right. There are things that are capable of making your spouse to resent you. Things that will make your spouse to lose their affection and love for you. These are the things I want to talk about. Number one, changing from who they fell in love with into something else that they don't understand. Yes, those things that you used to do as a man or as a woman that your spouse fell in love with, around you, the attitude that you portray, your humility, the way the way you adore him or her, the way you praise him or her, whatever it is that your spouse saw in you, you would know. Don't change from it and become something else. All right, because this would, cause him or her to just lose affection for you. Number two, zero trust. If you have trust issues with your spouse, always policing them up and down here and there, you don't let them breathe, this can reduce their affection towards you and push them away. You don't need to police your spouse. The truth is, anybody that will be faithful to you, whether you police them or not. Yes, you have to check on them. You can't check on your spouse. You can, want to find out how they are, where they are, but there's something such as policing. Some people police their spouse. You check their messages. You want to know who called them, when they called them, why they called them, where they go to, why they are there, who they are with. You're just policing them here and there, every minute, every time. It is that me as a human being, me as a woman, I don't like it. If you police me too much, it will be a problem too. In fact, please stop it. If you are the type that does it, it is very tiring, it is very irritating. I am telling you for free. There are women that do it a lot, and there are men that, in fact, they like to do it. They tell you, she's my wife, so why won't I police her? We need to put tabs on her. No, don't do that. It's very irritating. It can be very tiring. I will just get tired. You should learn to trust your spouse, especially when they've not given you any reason not to trust them. All right? Especially when they have not given you any reason not to trust them. This leads me to number 3. Don't give your spouse any reason not to trust you. Don't be shady in your dealings. Don't be shady. Be transparent. In marriage is not a child's play. You have decided to go on a journey with someone, another adult, another human being. Don't take them for a fool by always lying, meandering and being all cunning and all of that. Don't give your spouse any reason not to trust you. Because once you give them reason not to trust you and they see that you are not trustworthy, it can make them to start resenting you and start, going far from you. It can push them away from you. Don't give yours. Even as an actor, as I am like this, my husband calls me anytime when I'm on set. Even if I'm on set in the night, my PA has a strict instruction. Anybody can call me, don't take the call or don't call my attention to it. But once you see Pearl calling, that's what I saved my husband's name as. Pearl. That's my precious stone, my precious, in fact, everything precious to me. Pearl. Yes, that's what I say. I say, once you see Pearl, either Pearl or Pearl 2, make sure you call my attention to it. I am going to tell my director to please hold on. Let me speak to my husband. Whether on video call, whether I have to answer that call. So be transparent in your dealings, because trust is earned. You have to earn your spouse's trust. Don't be vague in your dealings. Don't be cunning. Don't meander. Don't just be plain. Be transparent in your dealings. All right. So you don't give them any reason not to trust you, because that can push them away. Nobody is comfortable. In fact, what is marriage without trust? What is love without trust? Nobody will be comfortable with anyone that they don't trust. Your partner, your spouse is supposed to trust you, have a level of trust for you. Do you understand? So don't make your spouse, or don't give your spouse any reason not to trust you. Number 4, not making your spouse a priority. Over familiarity makes a lot of married people to forget that they're supposed to make their spouses a priority. Put your spouses first. After God is your spouse. Before your spiritual parents. After God is your spouse. Before your parents or your spiritual parents, your spouse comes first before any other person. Put them first. Make them a priority. It means that if something comes up and you have to choose first, it has to be something that your spouse is comfortable with. It has to be something that your spouse is comfortable with. Put them first in everything. Think about them first. Consult with them first. I hear that a lot of men or women, they can just opt and do things without telling their spouse. Are you kidding? How are you guys coping with such a relationship? This can push your spouse away if you don't make them your priority. I cannot even begin to imagine that my husband wants to do something and he will not tell me. Or I will want to do something and I don't tell him. I will consult with him. I will ask his opinion. I will ask his direction, and vice versa. Put your spouses first. Make them a priority. Don't put your spouses in the second place. If there are things that you need to do and you for people and for your spouse, you need to put your spouse first before any other person, so you don't push them away. Then the final one is always wanting your spouse to read your mind. Is your spouse God? If you don't tell your spouse something is wrong with you, how will they know? Some of you will get upset with your spouse and you start acting up without saying a word. You want them to read your mind. You want them to read your countenance. Sometimes they will even read your countenance and ask you, what is wrong with you? And you say, nothing. They're not gods. That can cause resentment. You will be stressing them. Don't stress your spouses with attitudes. Speak, talk, communicate. It is very important. Communication is a very vital part of marriage. Learn to communicate with your partners. Don't assume that they know what is wrong with you. Don't assume that they know what to do. Tell them what you want. Speak your mind to them always. I hope this message of mine has helped you. Thank you for watching. I love you. Have a wonderful day. Mwah.